You saw the article, right? She didn't know the billionaire was watching.
Of course. His response completely broke the internet.
Exactly my point.
The Sterling Tower. Nathan Sterling stood before the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse office on the 72nd floor of Sterling Tower in downtown Seattle. At 38 years old, he had built Sterling Tech Solutions from a small startup into a global powerhouse worth $12 billion. The city lights twinkled below like earthbound stars, but Nathan felt none of the wonder they once inspired. Success had brought him wealth beyond measure, but it had also wrapped him in layers of isolation. His jet-black hair showed the first hints of silver at the temples, and his emerald-green eyes carried the weight of countless business battles. Nathan wore his charcoal suit like armor, perfectly tailored to project strength and authority. But beneath that polished exterior lived a man who had forgotten what genuine human connection felt like. 5 years earlier, his former fiancée had left him for his business rival, taking company secrets that nearly destroyed everything Nathan had built. The betrayal cut deeper than any financial loss. Since then, he had constructed walls around his heart that seemed impenetrable. Trust became a foreign concept, replaced by contracts, background checks, and surveillance systems. A new face in the building. Margaret Foster, his trusted executive assistant of 15 years, knocked on his office door that Tuesday morning. Her auburn hair was styled in a professional bob, and her warm smile had weathered many of Nathan's difficult moods over the years. "Nathan, I wanted to update you about the new evening cleaning staff," Margaret said, holding her digital tablet. The janitorial company sent someone new for the executive floors. Nathan barely looked up from his computer screens displaying stock markets across 3 continents. "Background check completed?" "Absolutely." Olivia Chen, 27 years old. She works 3 jobs to support herself and her elderly grandmother. Graduated top of her class from community college with an associate degree in design. She has dreams of becoming an architect someday. References are outstanding. She has been cleaning commercial buildings for 4 years with 0 complaints. Does she understand the confidentiality requirements? Nathan asked, his tone purely professional. Margaret nodded. Signed all the necessary documents. She starts her shift at 7 tonight. Nathan, she seems like a genuinely lovely person. Reminds me of my daughter, actually. Full of hope despite difficult circumstances. After Margaret left, Nathan returned to his work. The mention of hope stirred something uncomfortable in his chest. He had given up on hope years ago, replacing it with calculated strategies and risk assessments. The woman behind the mop. Olivia Chen pushed her cleaning cart through the marble lobby of Sterling Tower that evening, her heart racing with nervous excitement. This job paid $3 more per hour than her other positions, and the difference would finally allow her to take one online architecture course next semester. It was not much, but it was progress toward the dream she had carried since childhood. At 5 feet 4 inches, Olivia had a petite frame that belied her inner strength. Her long black hair was braided down her back, and her dark brown eyes sparkled with determination that poverty had never managed to extinguish. She wore the standard navy blue janitorial uniform with quiet dignity, treating her work with the same respect she would give any profession. Her grandmother had raised her after her parents died in a factory fire when Olivia was 8 years old. Grandmother May had taught her that honest work was noble work, and that dreams required patience and persistence. Olivia carried those lessons with her every day. The executive floor was breathtaking. Sterling Tower's top levels housed not just offices but an impressive private art gallery where Nathan displayed his personal collection. Olivia had read about it in a magazine at the library. The gallery featured contemporary pieces worth millions, all carefully curated by Nathan himself. The moment everything changed. Olivia entered the gallery at 9:30 that evening, after the last executives had departed. The space took her breath away. Paintings lined the walls in perfect arrangements, and sculptures stood on elegant pedestals throughout the room. Soft lighting created an atmosphere of reverence and beauty. She began her cleaning routine methodically, starting with the display cases. The cleaning solution she used was industrial strength, designed to remove fingerprints and smudges from the gallery's glass surfaces without damaging the protective coatings. As Olivia reached up to clean a tall display case near a stunning abstract painting, the bottle slipped from her tired hands. She had already worked 8 hours at her morning job before coming here. The cap was not secured properly, and the solution splashed across her uniform, soaking through the fabric immediately. The chemical burned against her skin, and Olivia knew she needed to change quickly to prevent a rash. She glanced around the empty gallery. The nearest staff restroom was 3 floors down, but she had brought a spare uniform in her cart specifically for emergencies like this. Olivia moved behind a large marble sculpture that provided privacy from the gallery entrance. She worked quickly, unbuttoning her soaked uniform and peeling it away from her burning skin. The solution had soaked through completely, requiring her to change everything. Her movements were efficient and practical, focused solely on resolving the problem so she could return to her duties. What Olivia did not know was that Nathan's security system included discrete cameras positioned throughout the building, including the art gallery. The camera was nearly invisible, mounted high in the corner among the architectural moldings. The Billionaire's Dilemma. 7 floors above, Nathan was reviewing security footage from earlier that day. His head of security, Robert Kim, had reported a potential security breach in the parking garage that morning. It had turned out to be a delivery truck with incorrect credentials, but Nathan was methodically checking all camera feeds to ensure nothing suspicious had been missed. The art gallery camera feed appeared on his monitor. Nathan's hand moved toward the mouse to advance to the next camera when he saw Olivia changing her clothes. His finger froze. His breath caught in his throat. Olivia moved with such innocent urgency, clearly believing she was completely alone. There was nothing inappropriate about her actions. She was simply a young woman dealing with an unfortunate accident while trying to maintain her professionalism. Nathan immediately closed the feed. His heart pounded in his chest, not from any improper thought, but from the crushing realization of what had just occurred. His security system, designed to protect his assets and employees, had instead violated the privacy of someone who deserved better. For several long minutes, Nathan sat motionless in his chair. Then he accessed the system's administrative controls. With deliberate keystrokes, he deleted the footage permanently, ensuring no copies remained on any server or backup drive. He then disabled the camera in the art gallery entirely. Whatever security risk that created was nothing compared to the violation that had just happened. Nathan had built his empire on principles of integrity, yet his own system had failed the basic test of human decency. But Nathan knew deletion was not enough. Olivia deserved to know what had happened. She deserved the truth and the choice of how to respond. As the city lights glittered below his window, Nathan made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. He would tell her everything, the weight of truth. Nathan barely slept that night. He lay in his king-sized bed in his minimalist penthouse apartment, staring at the ceiling as moonlight filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The same windows that usually made him feel powerful now seemed to expose him, making him feel vulnerable in ways he had not experienced in years. By 6 a.m, he was back in his office, having abandoned any pretense of rest. He called Margaret as soon as she arrived at 8. "I need you to arrange a meeting with Olivia Chen," Nathan said, his voice tight with tension. Margaret's eyebrows rose in surprise. In 15 years, Nathan had never requested a personal meeting with janitorial staff. "Is there a problem with her work?" The night supervisor said she did an excellent job. "No problem with her work. There is a personal matter I need to discuss with her. Can you contact her and ask if she would meet me here at 4 this afternoon?" Margaret studied his face carefully. She had known Nathan long enough to recognize when something significant was troubling him. "Of course. Should I be present for the meeting?" Nathan considered this. Having Margaret there might make Olivia more comfortable, but the conversation he needed to have was deeply personal. It required privacy and complete honesty. "No, thank you. This is something I need to handle alone." After Margaret left, Nathan tried to focus on his scheduled conference calls with investors in Tokyo and London. But his mind kept drifting back to Olivia's face from the brief introduction the previous week. She had smiled politely, looking directly into his eyes without any trace of calculation or intimidation. In his world, that was remarkable. Olivia's morning. Olivia finished her morning shift at the downtown hotel at noon, exhausted but satisfied. She had just enough time to take the bus home, check on her grandmother, and grab a quick meal before heading to her afternoon job at the community center. As she walked through the door of their small apartment, her phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. Her heart jumped. Unknown calls usually meant bill collectors or bad news. "Hello?" she answered cautiously. "Ms. Chen, this is Margaret Foster from Sterling Tech Solutions. Mr. Sterling has requested a meeting with you this afternoon at 4. Would you be available?" Olivia's stomach dropped. A meeting with Nathan Sterling himself could only mean one thing. She had done something wrong. Maybe she had accidentally damaged something in the gallery. Maybe the cleaning was not up to his standards. She would lose this job, the best-paying position she had. "Is something wrong?" Olivia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Margaret's tone softened. "Mr. Sterling simply said he needed to discuss a personal matter with you. I honestly do not have more details, but I can tell you that your work has received excellent reviews." Olivia agreed to the meeting, though anxiety twisted in her chest for the rest of the day. She could not eat lunch. She changed into her nicest outfit, a simple gray dress she had bought second-hand for job interviews. She arrived at Sterling Tower 15 minutes early, sitting in the lobby trying to calm her racing heart. The meeting. At precisely 4 o'clock, Margaret escorted Olivia to Nathan's office. The space was enormous, with those stunning floor-to-ceiling windows offering views that seemed to stretch forever. But Olivia barely noticed the view. Her attention fixed on Nathan Sterling himself. He stood as she entered, and Olivia was struck by how different he seemed from their brief introduction. His expression held none of the cold professionalism she expected. Instead, she saw something that looked almost like nervousness. "Please, sit down," Nathan said, gesturing to the comfortable chairs arranged near the windows rather than the formal seats across from his desk. The choice surprised Olivia. It felt less like a business meeting and more like a conversation between equals. Olivia perched on the edge of the chair, her hands folded tightly in her lap. She had rehearsed apologies all afternoon, preparing for whatever mistake she had made. Nathan sat across from her, and for a long moment, he simply looked at her. Not in any inappropriate way, but with an intensity that suggested he was carefully choosing his words. "Olivia, I asked you here because something happened last night that you need to know about," Nathan began. His voice was steady but laden with emotion. "Something that was entirely my fault, and something you deserve the complete truth about." Olivia's anxiety spiked. What could he possibly mean? Nathan took a deep breath. "Last night, while you were cleaning the art gallery, you had an accident with the cleaning solution. You needed to change your clothes." The blood drained from Olivia's face as understanding crashed over her like a wave. Her hand flew to her mouth. "Oh no. The cameras. There are cameras in the gallery." "There were cameras," Nathan corrected gently. Past tense. Olivia felt tears burning behind her eyes. Humiliation washed through her, followed quickly by fear. This was it. She would be fired. Worse, he might accuse her of something inappropriate. Rich men had ways of twisting situations to protect themselves. But Nathan's next words shattered all her assumptions. "Olivia, I want you to understand something very clearly. What happened was a complete violation of your privacy, and the responsibility for that violation rests entirely with me. You were dealing with an unavoidable accident in what you reasonably believed was a private moment. My security system failed to protect your dignity as an employee. Olivia stared at him, unable to process what she was hearing. This was not how she expected this conversation to go. The moment I realized what was happening, I closed the feed, Nathan continued, his green eyes locked on hers with absolute sincerity. I immediately deleted all footage and disabled that camera permanently. There are no copies anywhere. No one else saw anything. You have my word on that. Your word? Olivia whispered, her voice shaking. Why would you tell me this at all? You could have just deleted it and I would never have known. Nathan leaned forward slightly, his expression earnest. Because you deserve to know. Because you deserve the choice of how to respond. Because keeping this secret would have been another violation of your trust, even if you never discovered it. Tears spilled down Olivia's cheeks now, but they were not tears of shame. They were tears of relief mixed with shock. She had spent her entire life in a world where powerful people protected themselves first and worried about everyone else later. Yet here sat one of the most powerful men in the city, taking full responsibility for something he could have easily hidden. I do not understand, Olivia said, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. Men like you do not do things like this. You could have just fired me and moved on. Men like me? Nathan's expression grew sad. What kind of man do you think I am? Rich. Powerful. Protected by lawyers and money. You're right about the first three, Nathan admitted. But none of those things excuse violating someone's privacy. None of those things make it acceptable to treat another human being with anything less than respect and dignity. An unexpected offer. Olivia sat back in her chair, studying Nathan's face carefully. Her grandmother had always taught her to trust her instincts about people. Right now, every instinct told her that Nathan Sterling was telling the truth. Thank you, Olivia said softly. Thank you for being honest with me. Thank you for handling this the way you did. Nathan nodded, but his expression remained serious. Olivia, I need you to know that if you want to leave this job, I completely understand. I will provide excellent references and compensation for the inconvenience. If you want to continue working here, you are absolutely welcome to do so, and I give you my word that nothing like this will ever happen again. Olivia considered this carefully. She needed this job desperately. But more than that, she recognized something rare in Nathan Sterling. She saw integrity. She saw someone willing to be vulnerable and honest even when it cost him something. I would like to continue working here, Olivia said. If that is all right with you. Relief flooded Nathan's features. Of course. Thank you. As Olivia stood to leave, Nathan spoke again. Olivia, Margaret mentioned that you are studying architecture. That you have dreams of designing buildings someday. Olivia felt her cheeks warm. It is just a dream. I take one online course per semester when I can afford it. At this rate, I will have my bachelor's degree when I am 40. Nathan was quiet for a moment, and when he spoke again, his words changed everything. What if you did not have to wait until you were 40? What if you could start a full-time program this fall? Olivia's heart began to race. I do not understand. Sterling Tech has a scholarship program for employees pursuing education in technology and design fields. We cover full tuition, books, and provide a living stipend. You would need to maintain a certain grade point average and commit to working for the company for 2 years after graduation. But you could attend the University of Washington's architecture program full-time. Olivia felt dizzy. This was too much. First the honesty about the camera, now this impossible offer. Why? Why would you do this for me? Nathan stood and walked to the window, his hands in his pockets. Because talent should not be wasted due to circumstances of birth. Because you deserve the chance to chase your dreams. And because sometimes doing the right thing means more than just avoiding harm. Sometimes it means actively creating opportunity. Olivia's tears returned, but now they flowed freely. For so many years, she had worked herself to exhaustion, watching her dreams slip further away with each passing month. Now this man, this billionaire she barely knew, was offering her everything she had prayed for. "I do not know what to say," Olivia whispered. Nathan turned back to face her, and for the first time, she saw him smile. It transformed his entire face, softening the hard edges and revealing the man beneath the billionaire. "Say yes," Nathan said simply. "Say yes and let me help you become the architect you were meant to be." Olivia nodded through her tears. "Yes. Yes, thank you. I promise I will work harder than anyone. I will make you proud." "I already am proud," Nathan said softly. "Your determination, your integrity, the way you care for your grandmother while working 3 jobs and still finding time to study. That is something to be proud of." As Olivia left his office that evening, Nathan watched her go with a feeling he had not experienced in years. It felt almost like hope. In trying to do the right thing, in offering Olivia the opportunity she deserved, he had unexpectedly opened a door in his own heart. Neither of them realized it yet, but that afternoon marked the beginning of something neither expected. Something that would challenge everything they thought they knew about love, class, and what truly matters in life. The blossoming connection. 3 months passed like pages turning in a beautiful story. Olivia began her full-time architecture program at the University of Washington, throwing herself into her studies with passionate dedication. She attended lectures during the day and worked evening shifts at Stirling Tower, though now her duties had shifted. Nathan had quietly arranged for her to assist with design projects for the company's new building initiatives. Nathan found excuses to visit the design department more frequently than necessary. He would stop by Olivia's desk to review project proposals, lingering longer than professional courtesy required. Their conversations evolved from polite exchanges about floor plans and structural designs to deeper discussions about art, dreams, and life philosophies. One rainy October evening, Nathan found Olivia alone in the design studio, bent over her drafting table with complete focus. The city lights reflected off the wet windows, creating a dreamlike atmosphere. She was sketching a community center concept for her advanced design class, her pencil moving with confident strokes across the paper. "You are here late," Nathan said softly from the doorway, not wanting to startle her. Olivia looked up, her face brightening immediately when she saw him. Over the past months, that reaction had become Nathan's favorite part of each day. No one else looked at him that way, with genuine warmth untainted by calculation or fear. "This project is due tomorrow," Olivia explained, gesturing to her sketches. "I want it to be perfect. This design is for a community center in the neighborhood where I grew up. A place where families like mine could access resources, education, and hope." Nathan moved closer, studying her drawings. The design was brilliant, combining functionality with beauty in ways that honored the community it would serve. "This is exceptional work, Olivia. Your professor will be impressed." "I hope so," Olivia said, setting down her pencil. "But honestly, I am not designing it for the grade. I am designing it because places like this could change lives. They changed mine." Nathan pulled up a chair beside her, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. "Tell me about that. Tell me about the places that shaped you." For the next hour, Olivia shared stories from her childhood. She spoke about the community center where volunteers had tutored her in math, the library where she had discovered her love of architecture through picture books, the neighbors who had helped her grandmother when money was tight. Her voice carried such warmth and gratitude that Nathan felt something crack inside his chest. "You see the good in everything," Nathan said quietly. "Even in poverty, even in struggle, you find reasons to be grateful." Olivia turned to face him fully, her dark eyes searching his. "And you see danger in everything. Even in kindness, even in connection, you look for the trap." The observation should have felt like criticism, but coming from Olivia, it sounded like understanding. Nathan found himself telling her things he had never shared with anyone. He spoke about his former fiancée's betrayal, about the loneliness that came with success, about the walls he had built to protect himself. "Those walls kept you safe," Olivia said softly. "But Nathan, they also kept you alone." "I know," Nathan admitted. "But I do not know how to tear them down anymore." Olivia reached out and gently placed her hand over his. The touch was simple, innocent, yet it sent electricity through Nathan's entire body. "Maybe you do not tear them down all at once. Maybe you just open a door and let one person in." Their eyes met, and in that moment, everything changed. Nathan saw his future in Olivia's eyes, and the realization terrified and thrilled him in equal measure. The first date. 2 weeks later, Nathan gathered his courage and asked Olivia to dinner. Not a business dinner or a casual meal between employer and employee, but a real date. Olivia said yes before he even finished the question. Nathan took her to a small Italian restaurant tucked away in a quiet neighborhood, far from the trendy establishments where he might be recognized. He wanted this evening to be about them, not about his wealth or status. Olivia wore a simple emerald dress that matched Nathan's eyes, her long hair loose around her shoulders. Nathan had never seen her look more beautiful. They talked for hours, sharing dreams and fears, laughing over silly jokes, and discovering how perfectly their differences complemented each other. "My grandmother wants to meet you," Olivia said over dessert, her cheeks flushing pink. "I have been telling her about you, and she says any man who helps her granddaughter chase her dreams deserves her homemade dumplings." Nathan felt warmth spread through his chest. "I would be honored to meet her." The following Sunday, Nathan arrived at Olivia's modest apartment building carrying flowers for Grandmother May. The elderly woman answered the door, her weathered face breaking into a knowing smile as she studied Nathan with sharp, intelligent eyes. "So you are the billionaire who made my Olivia cry," Grandmother May said in accented English, her tone teasing but watchful. "I am the man who wants to spend every day making her smile," Nathan replied honestly. Grandmother May's expression softened. She invited Nathan inside, where he spent the afternoon sitting at their small kitchen table, eating the best dumplings he had ever tasted and listening to stories about Olivia's childhood. The apartment was tiny compared to his penthouse, but it overflowed with love and warmth his expensive home had never known. As Nathan helped wash dishes, Grandmother May spoke quietly beside him. "My granddaughter has a heart bigger than the ocean. Do not break it, Mr. Sterling. Money cannot fix that kind of damage." "I would rather lose every dollar I have than cause her pain," Nathan said, meeting the old woman's eyes directly. "I give you my word." Grandmother May patted his arm approvingly. "Good. Now you can come back next Sunday. I will teach you to make dumplings properly. When love goes public." For 6 beautiful months, Nathan and Olivia kept their relationship private. They went on quiet dates, spent weekends exploring the city, and fell deeper in love with each passing day. Nathan found himself laughing again, feeling again, living again. Olivia discovered that beneath Nathan's protective walls lived a man of extraordinary kindness and depth. But secrets in the age of social media rarely stayed hidden forever. A photographer captured them sharing a kiss outside Olivia's apartment building one evening. By morning, the photo was everywhere. The headlines screamed sensational questions. Billionaire Nathan Sterling dating his janitor? From mop to millions, the Cinderella story of Olivia Chen. Is she after his fortune? The media frenzy exploded overnight. News vans parked outside Olivia's apartment and Sterling Tower. Reporters shouted questions whenever either of them appeared in public. Social media erupted with opinions, most of them cruel. Olivia faced the worst of it. Wealthy socialites who had pursued Nathan for years attacked her character online, calling her a gold digger and social climber. Even worse, some people from her own community criticized her for betraying her roots and abandoning her values for money. The comments cut deeply. Olivia tried to ignore them, but the constant barrage wore down her spirit. She stopped checking social media. She avoided going out unless absolutely necessary. The joy that had lit up her face for months began to dim. Nathan watched her suffer and felt rage unlike anything he had experienced. His public relations team advised him to issue a brief statement and let the storm pass. They suggested keeping distance from Olivia publicly until the attention faded. Instead, Nathan scheduled a press conference. The speech that broke the internet. 2 weeks after the photo leaked, Nathan stood before dozens of cameras and reporters in Sterling Tower's main conference room. Olivia sat in his office upstairs, watching the live feed with grandmother May beside her, both women holding hands tightly. Nathan looked directly into the cameras, his expression serious but unguarded. When he spoke, his voice carried absolute conviction. "My name is Nathan Sterling, and I am in love with Olivia Chen. I am not here to justify that love or defend it. Love needs no justification and no defense. But I am here to address the cruel and baseless attacks against a woman whose character and integrity surpass anyone I have ever known." The room fell silent, reporters hanging on every word. Olivia Chen was never my janitor. She was an employee of a contracted cleaning company who worked evening shifts at my building while attending college full-time and caring for her elderly grandmother. She worked 3 jobs simultaneously, not because she lacked ambition, but because she possessed more of it than most people ever dream of having. Nathan's voice grew stronger, more passionate. "When I met Olivia, I had everything money could buy and nothing that actually mattered. I had forgotten what genuine kindness looked like. I had forgotten that trust could exist without contracts. I had forgotten that someone could look at me and see Nathan, not Nathan Sterling's bank account." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Some of you have called Olivia a gold digger. Let me tell you about gold digging. Olivia has refused every expensive gift I have tried to give her. She insists on paying for half of our dates from her own earnings. She moved from her grandmother's apartment to a slightly larger one that she pays for herself, refusing my offers of help. When I offered to buy her a car, she said public transportation worked fine and she would rather I donate that money to scholarship funds for other students like her." Tears gathered in Nathan's eyes, and he made no effort to hide them. "This woman, who some of you mock and belittle, has made me a better man. She has taught me that wealth means nothing without generosity. That success means nothing without compassion. That power means nothing without the courage to be vulnerable." Nathan looked directly at the camera, knowing Olivia was watching. "I love you, Olivia Chen. I love your strength, your kindness, your brilliant mind, and your beautiful heart. I love the way you see possibility where others see obstacles. I love how you make me want to be worthy of you every single day." He turned back to the reporters. "To those attacking her, understand this. You can criticize me all you want. I am a public figure who chose this life. But Olivia deserves privacy and respect. She deserves to pursue her education and her dreams without harassment. If you have questions about our relationship, direct them to me. Leave her alone." Nathan's final words rang out with quiet power. Real love does not care about tax brackets or social status. Real love sees the person, not the price tag. And I have found real love with Olivia Chen. That is not a scandal. That is not a controversy. That is simply the truth, and I will not apologize for it." The aftermath. The press conference went viral within hours. The video was viewed millions of times. Social media exploded again, but this time, the tone shifted dramatically. People shared the video with comments like, "This is what real love looks like," and "He just set a new standard for men everywhere." Major news outlets picked up the story, but now they focused on Nathan's defense of Olivia rather than attacking her character. Opinion pieces praised his honesty and vulnerability. Relationship experts analyzed the speech as an example of healthy partnership. Even the socialites who had attacked Olivia fell silent, their cruelty exposed and rejected by public opinion. In Nathan's office, Olivia watched the press conference with tears streaming down her face. Grandmother May squeezed her hand and smiled. "That man loves you with his whole heart, child. That kind of love is rare. Do not let fear steal it from you." When Nathan returned to his office an hour later, Olivia ran to him. He caught her in his arms, holding her tightly as she cried against his chest. "You did not have to do that," Olivia whispered. "You did not have to expose yourself like that for me." Nathan pulled back just enough to cup her face in his hands, his thumbs gently wiping away her tears. "Yes, I did. Because you would do the same for me. Because that is what love means. It means standing together when the world tries to tear you apart." "I love you," Olivia said, her voice strong despite her tears. "I love you so much it scares me sometimes." "Good," Nathan said, smiling through his own tears. "Because I am terrified too. But I would rather be terrified with you than safe and alone without you." They stood together in that office, the city spreading out below them, two people from completely different worlds who had found their home in each other. The journey ahead would not always be easy. There would be more challenges, more people questioning their relationship, more obstacles to overcome. But they would face them together. Because real love, the kind that transcends boundaries and defies expectations, is always worth fighting for. 6 months later, Nathan proposed to Olivia in the community center she had designed, the one that had been built with funding from Sterling Tech, surrounded by the families and neighbors who had shaped her childhood. With grandmother May beaming proudly nearby, Olivia said yes. Their story had started with an accidental moment captured on a security camera. It had grown through honesty, respect, and mutual support. And it had become something beautiful. Something that reminded everyone who heard it that love recognizes no boundaries except the ones we create in our own hearts. And those boundaries, as Nathan and Olivia proved, were meant to be broken. The Endiri Try.